After spending years in high-level junior formula racing in series such as F3000 and GP2, then spending years as a test and reserve driver for various F1 teams, Luiz Razia would eventually break away from European racing and begin racing in the US. He would sign for Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports in the off-season before the 2014 Indy Lights season, setting the scene for the 25-year-old's only season in the series. This is a story of Luiz Razia's Indy Lights career. St. Petersburg would be a quiet debut for the Brazilian. He would qualify 7th, just behind his Schmidt-Peterson teammate Jack Harvey. As for the race itself, he would bring it home in 5th. Long Beach would be another quiet race, as he would start and finish 5th. At this point, only 2 races into the year, he was sitting 4th in the championship, only behind the likes of Zach Veach, Gabby Chavez, and Jack Harvey. Honestly, it was a decent start to the year, but things would get even better in the coming weeks. 2 weeks later, Indy Lights rolled into town for the doubleheader at Barber. On the first natural terrain road course of the year, Louis was driving his best so far this year. For race number 1 that weekend, he would start ahead of all of his Schmidt-Peterson teammates in 4th, then finish runner-up to eventual winner Zach Veach. Although race number 2 wasn't as good, with Louis starting 5th and finishing 4th, he still showed that he had some race-winning pace on natural terrain road courses. So when the Indy Lights series stopped off at the Indy road course for the first time since 2007, a track that used to host an F1 race and has proven to be a happy hunting ground for drivers with a European racing background, Luiz was riding high. Race number 1 was pretty good as he finished 2nd from a 4th place start. Race number 2 on the other hand was absolutely fantastic. He would grab the pole for the first time in his career and lead every lap on his way to grab his first and unfortunately last win in the series. Leaving the 6th race of the 2014 Indy Lights season, Louis would be 2nd in the championship, only trailing Zach Veach by 5 points. He had a freaking awesome start to the year, and even though this was his only win of the year, he still had a decent rest of the year. However, it wouldn't all be smooth sailing. His oval debut at the Freedom 100 saw yet another top 5 finish. However, he would hit some turbulence after this. Pocono started off great, with him battling for the lead with Gabby Chavez before dropping back to 3rd and then subsequently crashed off turn 2 while battling with Jack Harvey. He would be the first and only retirement of the race, being classified in 8th. Toronto ended in similar fashion, with Louis crashing in the rain after just 1 turn on lap 1. The doubleheader in Mid-Ohio would be a mixed bag, as although he qualified 2nd for both races that weekend, he would finish 3rd in race 1 and 11th in race 2. Milwaukee would be his last DNF of the year, but the damage had been done. Although he scored another 2 top 5s in Sonoma, one of which being a podium, Luiz Razia would finish a distant 5th in the championship. After having an overall solid year in Indy Lights, it's such a shame that he wasn't given another year to prove himself even more in the series. Had that been the case, he could have won even more races, possibly a championship, and even begun a career in IndyCar. However, instead he was left out of American racing and would move on to Brazilian stock cars, where he'd round off his career just 2 years later. As I said before, it's honestly a shame that his career ended this way, because he could flourish even more. He retired at only the age of 27, and had he stayed in Indy Lights, we'd probably be talking about a champion in this video. Instead, we're talking about a brief stint in a long career that, in my opinion, ends with a big what if.